Welcome to the animated recap. In this video, we recapped the adventure and comedy movie named Pinocchio that was released in 2021. In the start of this movie, we see a carpenter's tent that serves in the middle of a forest. He had no parents. He used to live alone and work there. He has a horse that talks, and one day the carpenter fashions a boy from wood. He gave him the name Pinocchio and expressed great disappointment that a boy had been born as a result of all of his efforts. He receives a wand to use to fix it from a fairy who one day appears. She appreciated his efforts because he had entirely fixed that. She offers him a present and casts a spell before she leaves. Pinocchio gains life in this manner. Carpenter was astonished by what he saw. When he considers becoming a father, he becomes excited. Carpenter admits that Pinocchio is a distinctive figure. As a result, he limits his motion to protect himself from harm. He forbids him from playing inside the house. The horse and Pinocchio got along well and had fun conversing and playing together. One day, a detective pays Carpenter a visit. He remarks, "I think you have something special that you don't show everyone." Pinocchio and the horse aren't visible during this. However, they were both on task. As distant shooting is audible, the detective bolts from the scene. Later, the carpenter finds Pinocchio hiding with the horse in a storeroom. Pinocchio expresses to the carpenter his desire to go to other places. The joiner replies, "Sitting here like this is boring to me. When the moment is appropriate, I will allow you to leave, but not now." Pinocchio ignores him and then departs on his horse. Later, we witness a circus owner speaking with his two assistants. He had the assistance of a cat and a fox. After a while he kept shooting his gun as he always did. The identical sound that initially caused the investigator to flee recurred. They were talking about how to reach plenty of people at the circus. Consequently, they profit greatly whenever a horse becomes unruly. Then, pulling his wagon, he begins to flee. The owner of the circus's daughter Bela was also a passenger in this carriage. She started to make noise because she was so terrified. Pinocchio, who was nearby with his horse, starts after Bela when he hears her screams. Pinocchio controls the horse and stops the vehicle with ease. The circus's owner and his assistants entered during this time. When he learns that his daughter is safe, he is relieved. The fact that Pinocchio is a genuine wooden puppet also astounds him. After seeing him, he devises a scheme to bring Pinocchio to the circus. He extends this offer to Pinocchio since he expects a large number of guests. Pinocchio is ecstatic when a position in a circus is presented. Later, he tells the commander that he will discuss this with his father. He is unable to make his own decisions. Pinocchio tells his father everything that happened when he arrives home. And despite wanting to work in the circus, he says his carpenter won't let him. But Pinocchio coerces him from leaving by saying he wouldn't be staying long and would be back soon. Carpenter agrees, and Pinocchio and his horse join the circus. Within the circus, he becomes quite well known, and a great deal of people come to watch him. The circus then travels to the big cities. Pinocchio rides his horse and plays around, making everyone laugh. Everyone is happy as a result. The owner muses about leaving the city after witnessing this. Later, he tells Pinocchio that he is well liked by everyone and that it is time for us to move on to other places. We can become famous in this way, and Pinocchio is ready for it. He realizes that his horse wasn't prepared for this and that Pinocchio was right to advise against going too far. Pinocchio, on the other hand, disagrees and also helps him get dressed. As a result, they begin to travel, and Pinocchio becomes well known due to his uniqueness. The circus's advertisements begin to appear everywhere. A huge audience had also gathered to see Pinocchio. With this approach, the investigator locates a poster and devises a strategy to apprehend the suspect. The circus team was anxious for their next performance after spending time in a city. Bela was perfecting her craft and loved to sing. Pinocchio makes the decision to confess his affections for Bela. Pinocchio's horse also advises him to tell Bela about everything. Bela overhears her father's statements the following evening. To his helpers, he was gushing about how Pinocchio would make them wealthy. When Bela learns that they will subsequently leave him, she becomes concerned. When Pinocchio shows up and expresses his admiration for her, she ignores him. She orders him to leave the circus immediately. She has begged Pinocchio to leave since she thinks Bela won't like him. The broken-hearted Pinocchio is left to wander alone. The cat and the fox approach him in the interim and make fun of him. Even though you are a person, all you are is a cold, soulless man. Carpenter, on the other hand, has been looking for Pinocchio and has plans to find him. Pinocchio sits dejectedly because he disagrees with their claim. Then a joker appears and says, "If you want to be a genuine guy, I know a fairy in the mountains. She have the ability to make you into a person." The fairy that we first observed at the start of the movie. Pinocchio is overjoyed to learn that he now has life. He tells his horse that when he grows up, he might end up being a genuine guy. The fox and the cat also hear all of this, and after that Pinocchio and his horse go off. Pinocchio will be tricked by the fox and dog as they search for the fairy. Furthermore, to gain from him, Pinocchio stumbles upon a tent while wandering and must find the fairy. There were two individuals present, and Pinocchio's horse was quite a shock. He informs him that he doesn't believe a fairy is there inside. "We might have made a mistake. It was discovered that there were a dog and a cat there." The cat uses his gun to shoot Pinocchio as the horse pulls him away. The fox and cat that narrowly escape death are recognized by Pinocchio as being the identical animals. He feels bad for neglecting his dog as well. Later, the horse and Pinocchio decide to disregard this and move forth. When they reach the massive mountains, the fairy must have run into something there. Huge stones begin to fall on them along the way, making it challenging for them to continue. They come across a stunning castle as they continue on. The fairy, who resides in a palace, declines Pinocchio's request to be transformed into a human. Pinocchio gets on his horse when he loses hope. Why not lend a hand to him? The fairy's parrot comes over to her and inquires. "This isn't the right time," the fairy said. On his horse, Pinocchio was making his way back. In the interim, the investigator and his team arrive. Pinocchio hides behind his horse to listen to his talk. He was telling his group that the boss of the circus put on outstanding displays, similar to while they are watching the performance. He snatches away their homes from behind. Pinocchio is shocked to learn this. The investigator also informs his team that Pinocchio would be in charge of their main performances. The creative brilliance, in my opinion, is Pinocchio. Pinocchio does something he has never done before. He tells his horse to go to Bela and inform her that his father is a felon. He is halted by Pinocchio's horse, who draws attention to the many problems we have previously encountered. "We won't be able to go again since Pinocchio won't hear him. He comes to see Bela since he worries about her. He is being detained by the detective before he can reach her." Although he is helpless to stop it, Pinocchio begins to scream loudly. A special handkerchief is now placed in the detective's lips. After capturing everyone, Pinocchio is saved by his horse. Later, he takes Pinocchio to a desolate area. He is aware that he must stay put and will come back after completing a mission. Pinocchio stays for a time, but he is impatient. He continues on after that, approaching Bela and informing her. Pinocchio is shocked to learn that your father is a criminal. All of this is previously known by Bela, and Pinocchio becomes ragged when he finds out. He and Bela might have been romantically involved. In the interval, the owner arrives and confines him in a room. It is discovered that the carpenter has also come. After being captured himself, the owner threatens him, saying, "If you don't do anything tonight, I will kill your father." Pinocchio's horse locates him on the other side and rides him into the city. There, he meets Bela, who informs him that the businessman is not her biological father. "He just said he had tracked me down from my youth. He has done crimes, which I subsequently learn about, but I am powerless to stop him. I have never once encouraged him to commit any harm." Later, he informs him that Pinocchio and the carpenter have also been detained. Don't worry, just follow my instructions, Pinocchio tells him later, when he and Bela appear at a circus. The entertainment begins as the day transitions into the night. The performance of Pinocchio and his horse was fantastic. He abruptly comes to a stop and reveals the owner's genuine name to everyone there. He would break into your houses while we were on stage. Together with Pinocchio are the other employees. When he arrived, the investigator was already on the site and heard everything. Pinocchio's horse deserted him so that he could tell the investigator the truth, that Pinocchio had done nothing wrong. The circus's proprietor becomes enraged. He attempts to flee and save himself by setting the circus on fire. Everyone gets to their feet and starts to move. Everything had sustained severe burn damage. Bela is confined inside the building as everyone else tries to flee the fire. After noticing this, Pinocchio jumps into the flames to save Bela. He finds himself among the flames after saving Bela. Later, when he realizes this, his horse assists him by pulling him out of the flames after he has already entered them. However, Pinocchio is not cognizant when he emerges. Sitting next to Pinocchio, who was having problems regaining his senses, Bela is sobbing a lot. She weeps on him, giving him a new lease on life. He awakens this time not as a puppet but as a real person. In the interim, the fairy shows up and tells Pinocchio that you have determined that you are a human being with a nice heart. As a consequence, your wish has come true. The owner of the circus is also detained. The detective was quite happy. Bela looks over the handkerchief the detective is holding. She takes the identical tissue out of her pocket. There is a secret that basically says the detective is Bela's real father. The owner of the circus also affirms this. As soon as Bela realizes the investigator is her biological father, she gives him a big hug. After that, the owner departs, and the investigator in charge of the circus is no longer employed there. Pinocchio and his horse are still performed there. And here the movie ends. We hope that you liked this video. If you want to see more animated movies, then subscribe our channel and press the bell icon. And also like, comment and share our videos. Thank you.